Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ringside Cinema. I am Money Mike, and tomorrow night on Raw, we will get the official word on Seth Rollins' injury and his future, which is squarely in doubt following his injury that occurred at Crown Jewel during the match against Cody Rhodes. Now, we did see the big angle that took place at the end of Monday Night Raw with Bron Breakker, Bronson Reed, and Paul Heyman turning on Seth Rollins, taking him out. And with the likelihood that this means we'll have a new World Heavyweight Champion and Seth Rollins likely vacating the World Heavyweight title tomorrow night on Raw, I want to talk about who potentially could be the beneficiary to Seth Rollins' injury and be the new World Heavyweight Champion. So, before we get into that, go ahead, hit that like and subscribe button as I do produce weekly wrestling content here on this channel. So, let's start with the most obvious. CM Punk, he won the World Heavyweight Championship back at SummerSlam. He did get cashed in on by Seth Rollins, and he did win a number one contenders match against Jey Uso and LA Knight to eventually get a world championship match against Seth Rollins. And so now it does seem like the plan might be that they will find someone to face CM Punk, most likely at Saturday night's main event. And CM Punk, I think that's a good, safe option. I think it makes a whole lot of sense. I think it can add to the story and the feud between CM Punk, Seth Rollins, where Seth can come back and say, Punk, the only reason why you were world champion was because I got injured. So he can kind of try to play it off like the only reason Punk was world champion was because of that. And also, too, it does give you a lot of multiple directions going into the end of the year, going into WrestleMania season. As if you do want to hold off on not crowning Bron Breakker so soon, then going with CM Punk would be the best option, I think, in the short term, to where eventually maybe he would be the one to put Bron Breakker over, say, at WrestleMania. Now, in terms of putting Bron Breakker over, before I get to Bron Breakker, I do want to talk about this man because I feel like this could be a kind of like, in case of emergency, break the glass, Roman Reigns. Now, I get it, Roman Reigns has talked about, oh, this title is worthless. This title is not the championship. And I did talk about this again in the last video that they could pivot to Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes 3 at WrestleMania because it did seem as we were going to be looking at Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 42. And so now, if you want Roman Reigns in a world title match, you could pivot to Roman versus Cody, or you could just have Roman Reigns beat CM Punk for the world title because again, CM Punk, number one contender, I would imagine that they're going to find someone to face Punk, likely at Saturday Night's main event or Survivor Series. So it could be Roman Reigns. And again, we go back to WrestleMania this year where you could play off the history with Roman, Punk, and again, something that they really have not touched on since WrestleMania or before WrestleMania because there was all that tension between Roman and Punk. They were fighting over Paul Heyman. Who's Paul Heyman going to come out with? Roman Reigns was shocked to find out that Heyman was going to be in Punk's corner. So now you can kind of finally play off of that. And if you want, again, you want the safe option, and you go with Roman Reigns, then that still means Roman Reigns is in a championship match at WrestleMania, and it could be how you make Bron Breakker into the next star at WrestleMania. But again, you already kind of have Cody Rhodes, who's kind of almost turning into a part time champion. So I don't know if you want to have both of your world champions essentially be part timers. If Roman Reigns is going to be the World Heavyweight Champion, the main goal of that should be to put over Bron Breakker at WrestleMania for the World Heavyweight Championship. Because we did see Bron Breakker hold up that World Heavyweight Championship at the end of Monday Night Raw last week. I think there was a live event somewhere. I think was it Japan, where Bron Breakker was actually carrying the World Heavyweight Championship. So it does seem as if the WWE is already putting in motion for plans for Bron Breakker potentially to be the next World Heavyweight Champion. So Bron Breakker versus CM Punk at Saturday Night's Main Event, Survivor Series, whichever one they want to do it at, makes a lot of sense. And Braun, in a way, we talked about this a lot. Everyone, I think, has talked about this in terms of the ages of the men's main event scene. You look at your older guys that are top of the card, and they don't have a whole lot right now with the younger talent. And I think if you really want to accelerate the youth movement, put in Bron Breakker at the forefront and have him defeat CM Punk at Saturday Night's Main Event. Go for it. You have an opportunity here to try something new, something fresh, and something that is different from the typical, okay, let's just give the title to Punk, give the title to Roman Reigns. It's one of those things where we can try something different to try to freshen up the show. We just saw on SmackDown, Ilya Dragunov just defeated Sami Zayn in the U.S. title Open Challenge. So they're trying new things, new direction on SmackDown. It seems like. So why not do that on Monday Night Raw? Let's just go ahead, crown Bron Breakker now. And if the WWE wants to give more fan service following the amazing match between AJ Styles and John Cena at Crown Jewel, how do you follow that up? Well, why not make AJ Styles the new World Heavyweight Champion? I mean, look, there's a picture going around online, AJ Styles, CM Punk sharing the ring in Japan. Why not give us AJ Styles versus CM Punk at Saturday Night's Main Event and have AJ win? AJ Styles has already talked about that he's going to retire next year. He's going to be the next in line for the farewell tour for 2026. And so with AJ looking to retire, it's one of those things where I think a lot of fans would love to see AJ win the World Heavyweight Championship once again. I think having him win it, I know some people might say, well, what if his last world title is the TNA world title? I think you could still do that later on. But I think a good short-term plan and to build off of that amazing match between AJ and John Cena, you put that world title on AJ Styles. Many of us in the wrestling world believe in Joe Hendry, but do you believe in karma? Because let's go back in time to 2016. Finn Balor defeated Seth Rollins for the Universal Championship, and then Finn Balor unfortunately got injured during the match, and he had to vacate the title the next night on Raw. And when he vacated the championship, after he was walking up the ramp, Seth Rollins came out and he laughed at Finn Balor. So, how ironic would it be that Seth Rollins vacates a championship and Finn Balor is the beneficiary of Seth Rollins being injured? I mean, look, it's a crazy kind of like full circle moment that WWE has a chance to do here. Now, do I think they're going to do that? Probably not. I mean, we've seen them not really do anything with Finn Balor. I mean, we want to see Finn Balor be pushed, be given more push, and we thought that maybe the whole Dominic winning the title, the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania, was going to lead to Finn getting a push, and the breakup of the Judgment Day, and Finn and Dom having a feud, but we haven't seen that. So I don't think the likelihood of Finn winning the world title is very much likely, but I do think it is an option that the WWE could consider, and actually no, should consider, because of the full circle moment that you can create from this. Finn Balor versus CM Punk. I think that would be a good match. And again, if you do want to hold off on Bron Breakker, you don't want to crown CM Punk, give it to Finn Balor in what would be a full circle moment of Finn Balor winning the World Heavyweight Championship, which many people did say that he should have beat Seth Rollins at SummerSlam a couple years ago for that World Heavyweight Championship. So I do think it would be a full circle moment from SummerSlam a couple years ago, going way back to SummerSlam 2016 to when he got injured and had to vacate the championship. So honestly, I would love to see that happen just because it would create that full circle moment. And again, you want to do something fresh, new, let's put the world title on Finn Balor. And last but not least, let's talk about the man that is rumored to be John Cena's final opponent. The man that we have not seen since he lost the World Heavyweight Championship to CM Punk back at SummerSlam, and that man is the ring general, Gunther. Now, granted, there are rumors that he is going to be John Cena's final opponent. And we do remember Saturday Night's Main Event earlier this year. Gunther defeated Jey Uso so that they could put Goldberg in a world title match at Saturday Night's Main Event against Gunther. And if you want to run it back with Gunther and CM Punk at Saturday Night's Main Event, and you have Gunther get his win back, then you're talking going into Saturday Night's Main Event in December, a potential storyline of John Cena becoming an 18-time world champion if he defeats Gunther. You know, that's very similar to the story they ran with Goldberg, where Goldberg, if he beat Gunther, he could have retired as world champion. And if you want to have John Cena retire as a world champion, you could have him beat Gunther, become an 18-time world champion, and maybe make the Royal Rumble in Saudi in 2026 be for the vacated World Heavyweight Championship. But again, you know, I talked about this a little bit when I talked about who could be John Cena's final opponent. I do think it's likely that we might see John Cena beat Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship. And again, it's one of those things for me where I'm like, why are we going backwards with Gunther? You know, like, why are we going to go back and put the Intercontinental Championship on him? It doesn't make any sense. So why not keep him in the main event scene and put the world title back on him? So I feel like, to me, those are your 5, I think, big names, contenders to take over as the new World Heavyweight Champion on Monday Night Raw. I think all 5 are great options. And I could have put people like Jey Uso, LA Knight, you know, maybe someone from SmackDown. But I felt like, to me, we've seen Jey Uso as world champion. I have my doubts about LA Knight. I don't know if he's ever going to be world champion in WWE at this point. But again, I think LA Knight would be an interesting one. Just again, that's fan service. I talked about AJ Styles becoming the World Heavyweight Champion. LA Knight becoming the World Heavyweight Champion, by beating CM Punk, would be great fan service. And you could have LA Knight drop the title to Bron Breakker. You could have him drop it to another heel, at the Royal Rumble. But give him like a short run. Like give him, give us some fan service with that. Jay would be interesting, but again, I don't know if that's going to fit into his new character, so to speak. I think we're still in the early stages of his new character developing. So I don't think we're going to get a Jey Uso world title run in the future or anytime soon. So let me know in the comments below, guys. Who do you want to see take over as the new World Heavyweight Champion? Should it be Bron Breakker? Should it be Roman Reigns? CM Punk? Let me know in the comments below. I've been your host, Money Mike, and you've been watching Ringside Cinema.